All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's March 12th, 2024. Just getting close to the contract rollover. In fact, volume has already flipped to the new June 2024 contract, but we're going to stick with the March contract here just for one last day. And we're going to go back and take a look at what happened here on Friday and on Monday of this week. In my opinion, some really great stuff. So let's go ahead and head on back now. Now, before we jump down to and look at Friday and Monday of last week, I do want to point something out that was pretty incredible here. Coming up into this uncharted territory up above us where we have no price action, no structure in the market, we went ahead and created some projections to the upside. And we had some expectations of resistance in the market right around some of these very discrete areas in the chart. Again, up in this uncharted territory where we don't have any price structure to rely on. So we had a target up to 68.25 and then a target up to 51.91. Well, what ended up happening at the end of last week here just absolutely blows me away. Again, before we came up there was nothing up on these charts. All we had were a couple of these projections or extensions to the upside. And what happened? We pushed right up going into the end of Thursday of last week and came right to our expected resistance at 68.25, got a little peek through it and a pretty significant pullback. And then going into Friday, we came right back up into it. We peeked through it in the pre-market in the overnight session, and then for 3 hours here, could not get through the level. In fact, that final 60-minute candle, you can see we tagged right to it, nearly to the tick, and got a really significant pullback coming into the open on Friday morning. And then once the bulls jumped in here, when the market opened on Friday morning, we got this really strong push by the bulls to push higher. And then what do you know? They fail right off our next projection level up above us near 51.91, coming up to 93 and getting this major pullback. I mean, unbelievable. I just can't believe how, I don't even understand how this works. They come up right to these levels, which were projections of previous price action in the market. And we find the most important rotations right off of them. Just absolutely blows me away. Here we are coming into the open right now, just for perspective of where we are. So pretty incredible stuff if you ask me. Now, on Friday, we had a lot of clues for a larger rotation back down. And so when we came into the open, there was kind of a fake out. And then once that fake out occurred, it was then really easy to jump on the bearish side of things. We had a lot of clues for the bears to pull the market back. And so let's take a look at the details here. Again, this is Friday morning of last week, March 8th. We got a nice push out of the open here. In fact, some great holds right off the holy orange power level for the bounce. And then, like I said, kind of faked out the bulls there for the first hour of the market, and then right after the first hour we started to get the failure. So there were a lot of really good opportunities on the short side of things, especially once we got down through VWAP and started to get down through the holy orange power level again. And notice once again on the way back down, the market bounced right off Hopel. Unbelievable. So then we start to basically kind of stair step these levels. We hold the back end of the previous daily high. They start to step lower, hold the back end of the 200, get to the back end of the previous daily close. And as you can see, if you would have shorted the back end of any of our roadmap levels on the way down, you would have made a lot of money to the short side, which really was what we were expecting the bears to do here. And really just super easy stuff until we got the little bounce at the end of the day. So the low of the day, just a couple points down below 50% of the previous day. So we got a nice retracement. We came up, popped through the high the day before, and then went ahead and pulled back to find support right around 50% of the day before, only to pop out here and peter out at the end of the day. And notice even throughout the last hour of that extended trading hour, still holding the 50% of the previous day to the tick there, and then bounce right at the end of the day. So that brought us into Sunday's Globex session coming into Monday morning of this week. Once again, some great stair steps down these roadmap levels. And then when the market opened on Monday morning here, I wasn't here to do our broadcast, but we did have a report go out. And on the report, it was still a similar situation to Friday, where we had a lot of clues for a bearish pullback. The question always was going to be, how far could the bears get? Because they had pulled back from the high of Friday at 51.91. They had already pulled back nearly 100 points by the time the market opened on Monday. But we still had all the clues for a continued pullback. Let's take a look at what happened here on Monday, yesterday, March 11th. And you had, right out of the open here, testing into the holy orange power level once again, not even breaking it by more than 2 points, and then holding the back end of VWAP here nearly to the tick, and to the tick on that first test right out of the open. This was the open here, our vertical line. Hold the back end of the VWAP, and then held VWAP within a tick for the sell-off. And remember, our expectation was for a continued pullback, but our question was going to be, how far could the bears really get it before the bulls jumped right back in on their relentless push higher. And so if you were short out of the open, you got beautiful opportunities off the back end of either Hopel or the VWAP there, and then you got the back end of the 200 and the back end of the FMA for basically all these tags within a tick. And then from there, it got a little wonky. And I did warn you guys that as we move into contract rollover, very well going to be a little bit of a choppy market. And I put that in the report yesterday morning. And then sure enough, yesterday was, and let's just zoom out and look at yesterday after the open, where we did have some beautiful opportunities to make money on the short side. It just kind of petered out and went, for all intents and purposes, just chopped around, right? Didn't really get appreciably back up through previous daily high, was never able to sell off and get really far down, and that was basically it. So we found support not quite at our next roadmap level, and then began to bounce. Once again, beautiful opportunity to make money on the back end of the Hopel here and here. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 discrete holds right off the Hopel there all morning. So pretty good stuff. There's a reason we plot this on our charts, and it's our proprietary level. It just seems to work like this nearly day in, day out. You saw it back the other day as well, where we rotated right off of it. And now, then the end of the day yesterday, like I said, it was a pretty choppy proposition. Just kind of meandered around in a tight range and trended ever so slightly back to the upside. And then at the end of the day, what do you know? We get back through VWAP. We hold VWAP on 2 tests with very limited risk, and then hold the back end of 50% of last week. And get the pullback to the end of the day and bounce off Hopel once again. So in my opinion, even inside of all this chop, still some unbelievable rotations off very discrete levels on our charts. And that brings us here now into Tuesday morning, March 12, 2024. And as you can see, here's the overnight price action. Here was the CPI drop at 8:30 Eastern, an hour before the open. And as you can see, held right off of 50% of the previous day, one of our key roadmap levels. And now here we are attempting to push and bounce out to the upside with a nice parry right off the previous daily high. So that brings us into our pre-market for this morning. Let's go ahead and jump up to the higher time frames.